Welcome to the Wind Believers Gathering, which takes place every week on Sunday. And we're talking about resetting our inner clocks, managing time, a non-ordinary approach. Alice says to the white rabbit, "How long is forever?" And the rabbit replies, "Sometimes just a second." The purpose of these gatherings is to learn to work with the emanating energy of wind. The goal of wind work is to provide simple, practical tools that can help you shift from form to consciousness. Once you can move with the divine energy and become the wind, you will not get stuck in fear or the mire of the illusion. We will start today by opening sacred space. Make yourself relaxed, or don't make yourself relaxed. Sit down, close your eyes, get comfortable, and listen to the energy of the wind. Let hear the wind and let the energy flow. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's listening to this work, to the group of wind believers who are trusting in this process of wind as a way of moving and navigating the energies of their life. I want to thank all of the joys and all of the sorrows. I want to thank my teachers. I want to thank the mountains and the rivers and the streams. I want to thank all of the forces of nature that help us align to our true natures when we allow that wisdom to come in and seat right in the middle of ourselves. I want to thank all of the people who are listening now and all of the people who will be listening later. Winds of spirit, enter the sacred space and time continuum of the now. I call upon the rock people, the rivers, the streams, the mountains, the star people, grandmother moon, grandfather sun, and all of the elementals. Come to this sacred ground and be here now. I call upon the winds of change, the winds that are older than the caves, the first winds that moved all of creation. Eurus, Notus, Zephyrus, Boreas, the cardinal winds of the compass, come here and help us as we navigate these changing tides. Watch over us, watch over this landscape, watch over everyone who will participate in this call now or later. Welcome. Who woke up today and thought to themselves, "Oh no, I lost an hour"? I know that there was a moment when I walked into the kitchen and I looked up at the clock and it said 6 o'clock when it was actually 7 o'clock. And yet I hadn't ever changed the clock on the stove, so it still said 6 o'clock. Where was I really in time? And then to throw things off even further this week, I went to the East Coast, which is 3 hours ahead of where we are now. But of course, over the travel, I was 2 hours and then 1 hour. And all the while, I was very conscious of, I'm losing an hour, I'm gaining an hour, my schedule's going to be off. And then this spring forward happens. And we're really like, okay, did I lose an hour? But where are we? Meister Eckhart said that the only time we really have is the now. And if we can really move and emanate to that belief, then there is no changing of the time. There is no past. There is no future. There is the present. And an example of this is to know that in this time and space continuum, things in what you perceive of the future are really already going on now in a four-dimensional world. And the shamans knew this all along, that there was no distinction of time. Time went backwards and forward. So events that happened in your life 10 years ago really might be influenced by things that are happening today in your life. And we're not always clear about those until later. But think of it this way. Say that you have a date next Friday. Well, the date is already going on now. And shamans have known for centuries that you can be with that. You can experience that now that's happening down the way, which is in a time frame that you can affect the outcome of it. For example, the book that I'm working on, in my mind, it's already published. It's already out there. And it is in some other reality. So as we learn to dance with these energies, we can really reflect in how we balance ourselves into our present moment. Shamans have known for centuries how to access this invisible world. And the way that they do it is by becoming one with the elements. For example, the elements of a rock or a chair or a tree. And once they can, or rain, shamans, in order to make it rain, they become the rain. And we have this idea of that these clocks that were invented when the Industrial Revolution came in, and the reason probably most likely it would make sense was because we needed to get workers to work on time. And if we didn't have a similar structure, how would you know that you were going to get there to do your job on time? But earlier than that, the hunter-gatherers and then the agricultural people knew that they regulated their times based on their natural cycles. Imagine that. If you regulated all your time on your natural cycles. For me, I do that at some extent. Like I get up without a time warning, unless I'm flying on a plane, and then I never sleep because I know that the time warning is going to come off and ring in the morning. And I just really so don't like that I'm always on that fear of flight mechanism, and then I'm always ready to jump in and get going hours before that I need to get up anyway. And so that the original keeper of time was nature. And hunters-gatherers knew that. They were so intimately connected to this that the slightest change in temperature or the tundra could alert them that it was now time to move back towards their spring grounds. Because if they waited too long on the tundra, it would become sloppy wet and they wouldn't be able to get to where they needed to go for the spring procreation and the things that would happen in their lives then. Now I've become so disconnected from that. We hop in the car and we say, "Hey Siri, how do I get across town?" We no longer navigate by the stars. We no longer are so connected to these subtle clues that when the TV tells us to put our clock ahead an hour, we feel like we've lost an hour, instead of that all of a sudden we're gaining more daylight, that we're coming into a time when we're going to plant our seeds for the spring. And so the work today is to get more in alignment with how you really feel about where you're at in the present moment of this shifting season, and not based on the weatherman telling you to turn the clock forward or the newspaper or anything else, but to know that when I check inside, this is where I am in my own cycle, and this is how I'm going to respond to this. And how we're going to do that is we're going to do a simple meditation first to get back to the cycle of your own world. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're going to find out, where are you naturally navigating right at this moment? Are you heading east? Are you heading south? Are you heading west? Or are you heading north? Now, in a larger cycle, we're all starting to head towards the east, which is the planting season, well, at least the people in the northern hemisphere, let me correct that, are heading towards this time to plant new seeds. The seeds that you planted last year might be coming up like tulips in the ground, or that you are getting ready to start a new enterprise because you're coming out of this hibernation. Even still, you may be resonating absolutely somewhere else. What I would like to do is find out first where you're going, and then what we're going to do is we're going to move that space using the wind, we're going to move that space up a little bit so that then you can be set with that pace on this clock system that we've all subscribed to, because it's a powerful illusion this time is. And then we're going to see if there's any obstacles that are keeping you from being aligned right in the present moment with the changing weather, the spring that's coming forward in your life at the moment. What I would ask is that you get yourself comfortable. And what does that mean? It means that you start doing those deep connected breaths. And remember, when you're breathing in the wind. You're breathing in wind energy that connects you to everything else in the world. So take a deep, deep wind breath in. And hold it in the base of your belly. And as you release it, release out any fear, any trepidation, any thought that you've lost an hour. Breathe it out. Now take another deep cleansing wind breath in. Release it. And again. And this time, as you release it, release all conceptions of time and space as you know it. And keep breathing as I do this wind meditation and just, again, flow with the wind. Today we've called upon Yangdong Hamani, and it's a balancing wind about being in harmony and being in balance. So find yourself in your most balanced place in nature, where it is in your third eye that you feel most comfortable, most at home, most in alignment to yourself. For some, it might be a deep forest. For others, it might be a stream. Others might find themselves out on their patio. Find yourself someplace where you feel most comfortable and balanced. And with your eyes closed, get up from wherever you're seated or standing and start to walk. And as you proceed, take note. Are you heading east? It might be the rising sun. Or are you heading south? You might be along a beach and you know that the way you're heading is heading south, or there may be a signpost. Are you heading west? Perhaps the setting sun or the ocean is off to your left or right if you're on the East Coast. Or are you heading north? And sometimes this is just a gut feeling, I'm heading north. Whatever it is, it's perfectly fine. You're just kind of taking note of that. And if you're in the East right at the moment, what you might be looking at is ideas about this time change. For example, when I was on the East Coast and I came back to California, I thought, my whole system is going to be thrown off. I've been traveling and now I've got to readjust. So I come back, and this belief of mine that it's a big adjustment makes me tired. I mean, traveling might make you a little tired too, but this belief really influences my reaction to the travel. And if you're traveling south, you might be thinking, oh, I'm so tired. I really needed more sleep and I've lost an hour. How am I ever going to catch up? How am I ever going to regain my energy? So this need of rest is prevailing as a sense of this time change is interfering with your need for rest. Or if you're heading north, you might be west, you might be feeling that, that you're physically struggling with, oh my God, I can't, so excited that this is over. I'm struggling with this winter depression. I go into this deep, dark fog in March, and it's like not soon enough for the sun to come back out more. Or if you're heading north, you might be thinking, oh, well, I was just meditating and I was just getting into my hibernation. And now all of a sudden we're getting tossed out into this. I'm not ready to go out there with these seeds that I've planted yet. So whatever it is, it might be that you're sitting in a spot that you really need to, or not need to, but you really might want to look at, okay, what are my beliefs about this time change, or what do I think I need, or what's happening to me physically as I lose an hour, or what's happening to me spiritually, collectively, community. And what we're going to do is we're going to proceed with this. We're going to go back to that place where you were standing, that place where you were walking, and I'm going to bring in Yangdong Halmani, who's, again, she's about balance, and we're going to move forward an hour in time. And we're going to see what blocks are in the way as you move forward in this hour. Okay, so get yourself comfortable, maybe close your eyes and go back to right where you were when we pulled out of this meditation, and we're going to go forward in time. And you might go a little further than an hour because, again, time is just an illusion. So you might go ahead 2 or 3 weeks and feel comfortable to go an hour, a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever works for you. So again, get those deep cleansing wind breaths in and out. Close your eyes, go back to that place where you were, and let's go forward. Looking to see what's blocking the path. And as you gather yourself together, for those of you who are traveling east, what was the thought that was keeping you from realigning to this balanced center? Or south, what was the need? What did you need in order to feel more balanced in this thought of that you've lost an hour? And the west, what physical changes could you feel? And then in the north, how are you in your spiritual world, in your connection, in your hibernation, in order that you're moving out? What was blocking you from ready to come out and have those seeds sprout? For me, it was immediate. I got this thought that somehow I believe traveling on a plane is a waste of time and that I can't get anything done. And since I'm so task oriented, this idea of not getting anything done or a waste of time is really something that blocks me and keeps me in the future, like that I've got this schedule, I've got this writing schedule, I've got to be on schedule, when really maybe if I just shifted that a little bit, I often read more of a trade paperback, or this time I was listening to the history of the world. And really, it's not a waste of time. It's this belief that it's a waste of time that is keeping me from getting present in the day, is that I perceive that I need to be doing all the time. Now, for you, it might be a whole different thing. Like this rest idea, how many hours of sleep do you really need to feel really great? Or, in the West, if you're depressed, how do you get out and make yourself move? Or, you've been in the house, and how do you get exercising again? All of these can be limited. And in the North is, how do you take these ideas that you've been thinking about all winter and bring them out into the world to get that community buy-in? Or how do you align to your spiritual world? One more time, I'm going to call into Yangdong Halmani to come and take that limiting belief, need, physical or spiritual, off into the wind, off into the cosmic, common, collective, so that it can get reintegrated and that we can feel alive and centered right where we are at this moment. One more time. And as we come back to the room, I hope we can all be feeling a little more centered. For me, I saw that thought fly right off the back of the jet off into the tailwind. And I was thinking last night that a friend to me said, why don't you use this wind work to clear that foggy brain of yours, thinking that you're still on East Coast time? And so that just happened. And I hope that you had a similar experience for wherever direction you were traveling. And I sure would love to hear what your experience is over on the Wind Believers group on Facebook, or even comment under YouTube, or check out this wind work over at thepracticalshaman.com. And until that we meet again, know that with the wind at your back, you can accomplish any goal. So keep that wind with you and have a wonderful day. And I'm Renee Baribeau, the Practical Shaman, and this is Wind Work.